We have a brutal Oilers injury update, and this changes everything as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is out week to week for the Edmonton Oilers, and this team just cannot get 100% healthy, but we will cover that today here on the channel, how this changes things for the Oilers lineup-wise and personnel-wise, as Ryan Nugent-Hopkins normally on that top Oiler power play there, so we could see who could potentially replace him there on the five-man unit. All that more today here on Oilers Digest. Before we get into everything today, hope everybody's having a wonderful Monday. We still have some Oiler hockey to kind of look forward to tonight after, the shellacking that the Oilers received on Saturday night. But make sure you subscribe here to the channel for any and all Oiler news. As 71% of you watching these videos haven't hit that button down below. I know it's been quite a tumultuous start here for these Edmonton Oilers, but hopefully it's just a slow start and they can overcome whatever the hell they've been dealing with for the opening month of the NHL season there. But yesterday at practice from TSN's Ryan Rishaug there, the Oilers, getting heated in practice. Conversation starts a little tense with Connor McDavid, Evan Bouchard in Mattias Ekholm, and eventually sorted out. Notable, but normal stuff for a frustrated group there. You can see, Connor McDavid sort of pointing out where Ekholm and Bouchard need to be or how they messed up. The details of the conversation weren't released, but again, that's stuff you leave on the ice there. But it's good to see, the Oilers sort of, communicating on the ice. As Connor McDavid said, the communication was a big issue for this Oilers slump. Taking a look at what he said after practice, we talk about it in here, but it's everybody trying to bring something. Even if it's not your nature to be the loudest guy, you got to try a little bit. If it's not your nature to play a physical game, you got to try a little bit. We all got to have a hand in bringing just a little bit more emotionally, physically, and to our game overall as a whole. Everybody has a little bit more to give, and I expect everybody to have a good one against the Columbus Blue Jackets there, sort of calling out his team indirectly there, saying, hey, even if you're not the biggest guy, even if you're not used to goal scoring, you have to get uncomfortable. Have to get out of your comfort level, your comfort zone there on the ice there, and try to do anything to get this team out of the slump. There's a lot of belief in the room that we will figure it out, so we kind of let things get to this point, and I think that night against the Avalanche is the accumulation of a lot of different things. It was a great warning to the group of what happens when you're not ready to roll in this league. It's humbling, and we stand better for it, but we got to move on there. So a little bit more out of Connor McDavid, other than, the whole, yeah, we got to get better, we got to do this, we got to do that. But he's just calling out the team and saying, okay, yeah, it's humbling, losing 9-1 there, but, it could just be more lip service for all we know. But, Connor McDavid hates losing. We saw it the last 2 years against, the Florida Panthers, and even so, going back, the Colorado Avalanche getting swept in the Western Conference Final, losing to the Vegas Golden Knights when those 2 years, were wide open for the Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid being the captain that he is, I've seen so much criticism of Connor McDavid saying, oh, he's not the leader, he's not ripping into his group there, he's not getting in everybody's face in yelling, but that just tears the room more apart. Aside from what Connor McDavid did with Ekholm and Bouchard, it was sorted out there, but you just have to let the team know what exactly is going on. Communication is key, and that will be key for the Oilers up against the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight on Prime Video. Yes, the game is not on TV, so don't go searching on your TV guides. There it is on Prime Video. The Oilers, don't have the most luck on Prime Video. I think they went something like 0-3 last year on Prime. I think they even got shut out in the first 2 games against the New Jersey Devils and the Montreal Canadiens. So hopefully this brings something different for the Oilers this season. But some bad news here. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins has been placed on injured reserve there, and Kasperi Kapanen to LTIR. Kris Knoblauch said we should expect to see Kasperi Kapanen back sometime around the start of December there. And the Oilers have activated forward Mattias Janmark from IR, and he will make his season debut tonight for the Oilers. Nugent-Hopkins out for about a week with an injury. He took the practice day off yesterday, Sunday, for a maintenance day, but turns out it was something, a lot more than that. And then other lineup news here. Curtis Lazar comes in for David Tomasek, and Stuart Skinner starts against the Columbus Blue Jackets in an attempt to sort of get his game back on track there. But, all the articles saying, the team, feeling deflated after that Colorado game there. I mean, the first two goals, they sank the team. I'm not going to lie here, folks. They sank the team, and it was just a point where they just couldn't get back to their form for the rest of the night. They had a great start to the first period against Colorado, and then two, identical goals from Cale Makar, and, the whole team just kind of gave up at that point there, and it was the point of no return there. But Stuart's going against the Columbus Blue Jackets seems to be, the best of both worlds there. The Oilers dominating the Blue Jackets at home, with the Blue Jackets dominating the Oilers in their home, the Nationwide Arena, and they will meet again this Thursday following the Monday matchup at Nationwide Arena there. But taking a look at the Oilers' projected lineup tonight with no Ryan Nugent-Hopkins there, you can see Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl back to centering their own lines, folks. How long will that last? No idea, but to start out the game, they will be centering their own lines, and even better, Kris Knoblauch putting a Matt Savoy next to Connor McDavid there, with Andrew Mangiapane on that left wing. In the second line there, Vasily Podkolzin and Draisaitl in Jack Roslovic, Ike Howard, Adam Henrique in Trent Frederic, who I'm expecting to have a better game than what we saw on Saturday night. And he was asked after the game, why doesn't he do something? But Trent Frederic just giving sort of a soft answer, saying, who's gonna fight me? I only have one goal in 15 games, but anything, you got to do something to spark this team. That's what Trent Frederic was brought onto this team for, to spark this team whenever stuff went south. But nothing so far this season from Trent Frederic. And then on the fourth line, Matthias Janmark making his season debut with no Philp in Curtis Lazar. So it'll be interesting to see who takes Ryan Nugent-Hopkins' spot on the Oilers power play there. I mean, it'd be nice to see Matt Savoy there. But, knowing, Kris Knoblauch, it won't be Matt Savoy. Hates the youth for some reason. But it'll be some interesting personnel decisions for the Oilers bench staff there. On the back end, Mattias Ekholm in Evan Bouchard, Darnell Nurse, and Alec Regula, and then Brett Kulak in Jake Wallman, with, as I mentioned, Stuart Skinner getting the start in net for the Oilers tonight. But Kris Knoblauch was sort of asked about the identity of this Oiler team, and he gave a very weird response. I don't know how to interpret this at all. It's just something that sort of needs to be kept internally. And if you have to lie to the media here, Chris, but saying this, Connor and Leon should be the identity of the team. After that, it should be the top six defense. Well, if you're, one of the other forwards on this team there, how does that make you feel? You're just pawns in this game of hockey chess that who knows what we're trying to get after here with saying something like this. Connor and Leon, sure, they're the cornerstones of the team, but saying they're the identity, I mean, that's just, again, throwing the rest of your players under the bus and just not making them feel like it's a complete team here. The camaraderie non-existent. And then the top six defense, sure, you have guys like Kulak and Wallman and Ekholm and Bouchard and Regula, but Darnell Nurse, I mean, there's really no identity besides being inconsistent night in and night out there. But as I mentioned, McDavid and Draisaitl, if you're, again, one of the other forwards and you're saying, okay, you're not part of the team identity, how exactly does that make you feel? You're trying to get this team back on track there, out of a slump, but, you're losing, and all of a sudden, the identity is the two guys who've been, playing, 23 minutes a night here for every single game in this Oilers season so far. 16 games played, 22-16 for Leon Draisaitl and 23-22 for Connor McDavid here. I mean, Kirill Kaprizov and Matt Boldy are the top two leaders in time on ice, but the Minnesota Wild have played one more game. They played Calgary last night, so they have the one game advantage up on Edmonton. But again, 23 minutes for Connor McDavid in an Olympic year, and we're halfway through November. It's just not a good message to send to the rest of your team there. Hey, when things get tough, we're not going to play the depth guys. We're just going to, hit the panic button here, break glass in case of emergency, and go to Connor McDavid in Leon Draisaitl there. And again, they're not going to pull this team out of every single tough situation. We saw it against the Florida Panthers and how the Panthers shut them down when it mattered most there. And then didn't see the depth guys at all because, Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl out on the ice every second shift there. But for Kris Knoblauch, again, saying something like that, normally he means well, but at this point of the season, I don't know what his end game here with this Oiler team, trying to get them out of this slump. And then the other elephant in the room, I'm going to keep hammering it home here with Stan Bowman and trying to upgrade the goaltending situation. Now, are the Oilers, perfect? Absolutely not. But Do they need a change in net? Absolutely. I mean, Stan Bowman, when asked if you trade for a goaltender, no, and apparently he liked the way the Oilers looked there. But for the Oilers, I mean, when, things got tough goaltending wise, the Oilers made a move there. We saw, Tommy Salo when Curtis Joseph left town to Toronto. Glenn Sather went out, got a goalie. 2006, times got tough. The Oilers weren't really trusting Ty Conklin or UC Markkinen. Kevin Lowe went out and got a goalie there. But for the Oilers, just need to do something at this point of the season, whether that's calling up Connor Ingram, sure he's not ready, or even, Samuel Janssen down in the Fort Wayne Comets. Go look up his stats. He's been phenomenal so far this season. The Oilers just need to do something there, but, I'm not going to harp on the goaltending completely here from Jason Gregor. The Oilers 5-on-5 just completely non-existent. No play on the top 125 scores of 5-on-5, 27th in goals for at 5-on-5, 30th in goals against 5-on-5. They are bottom half in pretty much every single category here. 5-on-5, 5-on-5 shooting percentage, save percentage, and again, the entire team must be better 5-on-5, not just a few individuals there. So again, a lot of problems. There's still enough time to get things back on track, but again, things could go south a lot more quickly than they can get back north there for the Edmonton Oilers. But their opponent tonight, the Columbus Blue Jackets, every single video I'm going to go on about the goaltending, but, I will stop while I'm ahead, folks. Just get a goalie. For the Columbus Blue Jackets, they are fighting an illness in Edmonton, so a classic trap game here for the Oilers tonight. They're against a team that's, projected to be not as, strong as they were, obviously fighting an illness, and a handful of forwards weren't on the ice for the morning skate there. I'm not even going to try to say what the lines are for the Columbus Blue Jackets there, as, Dean Evison asked if he was asked if there will be any lineup changes tonight, and he said, yeah, there will be a few, so I'm not going to try and predict what the Blue Jackets are rolling out there tonight, but Jack Reeves will be in net tonight, and he is top 10 in the NHL for goals saved above expected. They're also rocking a 905 save percentage, so it will be a tough go for the Edmonton Oilers. They're in a slump, and they're against, a top 10 goalie in the NHL. But that is it for today's video, folks. Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are on these Oilers heading into tonight's game, and who do you think will replace Ryan Nugent-Hopkins on that Oiler power play there? Let me know down below, and if you haven't already, folks, make sure you subscribe here to the channel. Hopefully we can hear some La Bamba tonight, get things going before the Oilers head out on the road later on this week. But enjoy the game tonight. Take care. Let's go Oilers. I'm Matt.